Yeah, guys. So today we'll continue our discussions on data modeling. And in data modeling, we have seen the importance of the data modeling is that if you are creating any visual like this, and if you are using column from a different table into one single visual, then all the table need to be related with each other. So since dim client table, dim calendar table, cost table, and sales table need to be related with each other. It means there should be some relationship between these tables. Then only we'll able to use it properly. Otherwise, the value that will going to appear here into this visualization will not be correct. It will be inaccurate. Okay, and that's why we need a relationship between the tables. Okay, how to create a relationship? That you need to simply, like suppose I want to create a relationship between the dim client and the cost table, between the column client and client. Then what you have to do, you have to simply go to the client column, left click on the mouse, press and hold, and drag and drop it here until you see a black dotted line. If you leave it, a relation will be going to create it. So you will get new window like this, wherein it will going to show you new relationship, and it will ask you the relationship from the table. So it will be in cost table and dim client table, and you need to select on common column. So like I want to create a relationship based on the common column client and client, so I need to select on client, and then we need to click save. Since there is already a relationship between these two tables, you know so this is how a relationship will be going to create it. If you want to delete it, how to delete it? You need to right click it here, and you will get an option to delete, and you will able to do that. So if I click yes, I will able to delete it. What is other way of creating a relationship or managing a relationship between the tables? Is just you need to be in model view. Just go to home tab, and under this there will be manage relationship. You need to click on that, and from here you will be able to see all your relationship. If you want to create any new relationship, there is a new relationship button. You need to click on that, and I want to create a relationship between the dim client and cost. So I will select as a dim client, and another table is a cost table, and based on this client column I need to select. By default, since the header of both the column is same, by default these are selected. But if the column header are not same, it will not be selected. So you need to click on the column on which you want to create relationship. Suppose I want to create a relationship with the client and cost, so I need to select cost. Since I want to create a relationship based on client column, so I need to select client. And I want this relationship should be active, so this box need to be checked, and I will click save. So this is how you will be able to create a relationship. All the relationship you will find it here. If you want to delete it here, you need to select, and you will get an option to delete, or you get an option to edit. So you can edit your relationship. If it is active, you can make it inactive, or if it is inactive, if you want to make it active, you can do so. Right. There is also a feature of auto detect relationship. Never use these features, because the type of relationship, it will be going to create it based on Power BI intelligence AI. So these relationship, which will going to detected by Power BI is not always correct. because the type of relationship that you are creating here is depend upon what type of graph or what type of requirement that client has given you. So this relationship are always based on the requirement. So never use auto detect a relationship. Okay guys, now if you are creating any relationship, if I click it here, see, there are some of the things that you need to figure it out, right? And like you need to absorb, like what is the observation that you can make, that see, I have a dim client table, and I have here one, and in the cost table I have a star. So what is the meaning of one and a star? And if you see the arrow of a relationship, this arrow is coming from dim client going towards cost table. So arrow is, see the arrow, so arrow is coming from dim client and going toward the cost table. Why this arrow is like this? So let's first understand what is one and one is what is a star. So if you are seeing, I have created this relationship based on the client column of both the table. If you go and see the data in the dim client and the client column, so let me go back here and let me go to dim client. See, all the value of the client name are unique. So I have a, I have a b, I have a c. All the value in this client column are unique, they has appeared only once, and that's why this arrow is one. This one represent that the value in this client column are unique in nature, and that's why I'm getting one. Why I'm getting many? It means the value in the client column of a cost table is repeated. At least one of the value is repeated, at least one. So if let's go back to the cost table and see, check the data. So if I go to the cost table and if I see client name, see, client A has a repeat twice, client B has a repeat twice, client C has repeat or appear twice. So what this many reflect, many tells that the value in the client column are duplicate. At least if only single value is duplicate, then also you will get a star. What I try to mean that suppose you have a unique row for these all these rows, and at least a has appeared twice. So if any of the value or any of the client name has repeated, then also you will have a star. So one means the value in this client column is unique. Here a star means the value in the client column are duplicate value. At least one of the value is duplicate. So this is the importance of one in a star. Right. Now, if you are able to see the arrow, if you are seeing this arrow, what it means, if you are seeing this arrow, it means dim client table will able to filter the cost table, because arrow is coming from dim client to cost. It means dim client table will able to filter the cost table. What I am trying to mean, let me explain you. So let me create this page number 3, and I will have cost table, and I will have a slicer. So I have this slicer. Into this slicer I will uh, where is dim client? From dim client I will bring client here. So I have ABC. Let me tweak it a little bit to make it 20, and the value should be, let me just check where is, here is the value, and I will make value as 20. I will make header as 25, right? So this client column, I'm using this client column from dim client table. Now what I will do, I will have a table visual. Into this table visual, I will, grab information from cost table. So I will have date, and I will have cost, right? And there are some column that are hidden, that is client column from the cost table. These are hidden table, hidden column. Hidden column means you will be able to see in the model view, but this client column you won't be able to see here. So if you go to the cost table, here I'm not able to see the client column, but ideally this cost table contain the client column. If you go here in the model view, this is the cost table, and this cost table contain the column client. Why I'm not able to see here? Because I have hidden it. If you are able to see, let me unhide it, and let's come back to report view. Now we'll able to see that. See, I'm able to see the client now. So let me bring this client here also. So let me drag and drop it here, and let me copy the format from this table. Let me go here, come back to this page, and let me format it. Right, so I have this table. If you are able to see the value of the client, I'm getting from cost table, the cost and date into the visual. This slicers, if you are able to see, this slicers is coming from dim client table. Now let's go back to our relationship. We have relationship between the dim client and cost table. And how is the arrow? Arrow is coming from dim client to cost. So what I have told you, that dim client table will able to filter the cost table. So let's go back here. I have this filter. This filter is coming from which table? Dim client table, right? And I have this data. This data is coming from cost table. So if I choose, client A, I will have information of client A. What it means, if I am selecting any value in this slicer, I am able to filter this table. This table data is coming from cost table. This slicer value is coming from dim client table. If you see the relationship, dim client is able to filter the cost because arrow is coming from dim client going to cost. It means dim client will able to filter the cost table. See, I am able to filter. If I choose B, I will have data for B. If I choose C, I will have the data for C. But now let's try the reverse. You know. So what I will do, let me copy this visual and paste it. Let me remove this column from here, and now I will bring this client column from the cost table. Right. This client column is coming from cost table. See, now I will have table visual also, and let me remove it everything from here, and I will bring client name from the uh, dim client table. So I have a client name. This is a table visual. If you are able to see, this is a table visual. This is a table visual. Now my table visual value is coming from which table? It is coming from dim client table. This slicer value is coming from which table? Cost table. So now I have done the reverse. The slicers I have used from the cost table, and the value in the table is I'm able to choose from dim client table. Now let me choose, try to look this to visual. If I choose client A, Will I able to filter this data for only client A? No, because if I choose client B, will I able to filter this table? I am not able to filter this table. Why I am not able to filter this table? Because if you see, the data into this table has came from the dim client table. But if you see the slicer I have used from the cost table. Let's see the arrow. Arrow is coming from dim client to cost. It means dim client will able to filter the cost, but reverse will not going to happen. Means if cost table is try to filter the dim client table, it will not be able to do that, because arrow is only coming from dim client to cost, not from cost to dim client. And that's why, since I have used this client from the cost table, and this table visual is coming from dim client table, and that's why I'm not able to filter. See, I'm able to see all the value. If I choose C, then also I am not able to filter. So this is the importance of this arrow. This arrow is called cross filter direction. So now, by default, if your relation is one to many, star means many. This is called one, this is called many. If your relation is one to many, the cross filter direction is from one to many side. It will start from one, goes to many side. Now, how you can check it? Let's double click, and here you will see cross filter direction. I have used single by default. By default, for one to many type of relationship, it will from towards one, it will goes to many side. Now, what you want? You want to filter this dim client table with cost table also. So you want that this filtering should also work. Here I am not able to filter, but you want that it should work. What you can do? You can allow both. So when you go to cross filter direction, you have option to both. You can choose both. Once you choose the both, click on save. Now see the arrow. Arrow is first coming from one to many, and then we have a reverse arrow also. So from one side to sorry, from many side to one side. If you go back here, now I am able to filter data. So this is my slicers. If I choose A, I will have a data for A. If I choose B, I will have data for B. If I choose C, I will have data for C. Now why like it is able to filter? Because now the arrows goes from cost to dim client also. These are called cross filter direction. You can control it from here. By default, for one to many type of relationship, it is single. And from where to where, it is always from one side to many side. By default, it will be one side to many side. Means this dim client table will able to filter the cost, but the cost filter is not able to filter the dim client. Why I'm calling one to many type of relationship? Because this relationship is based on client column of dim client table and client column of a cost table. If you see the value in the client column of dim client, it will be unique. It will be unique. So if I go to dim client, and if you see this value, these are unique value. None of the value has repeated. But but if you go to the client column of cost table, we have a star. A star means at least one of the value into this client column are duplicate. So if you go here and go to the cost table and see the client column, see the value are repeating. A has appeared twice, B has appeared twice, C has appeared twice. So that's why I'm calling many. This is called one to many. Why the data is like this? Because our client number A has you know has incurred some cost in the month of 1st January and in month of February. So there will be two entry with respect to same client A. So this type of transaction is possible. this is for the January month and this is for the February month. Same for client B, this is for January month and this is for February month, and same for client C. So the data is correct. Logically the data is correct. Why we have a two enter for client A? Because these are for the different month. And this type of table is fact table. Why this is fact table? Because this is a transaction table and it has measurable quantity. This cost you can sum up and it will end up giving you meaningful insight. So this is one type of relationship. And these one to many, these are called a type of relationship, or even you called it cardinality. So there is two naming, in the Power BI. Either you call it cardinality or you call it type of relationship. So normally what you call, either you call it cardinality or you call it type of relationship. So if you are saying cardinality, they are equal to relationship. Like how many types of cardinality that Power BI have? So Power BI have one to many one to many, one to one, many to many. So these type of cardinality are available. Where you can find it? You can come here, double click it here, and under cardinality you will check it. So we have many to one relationship or cardinality. We have one to one, we have one to many, and we have many to many. Here, if I right click, if you see your table, the first table is cost table, where client is repeating, if you are able to see. And then second table is dim client table, where the client is unique. So the first table where the client is repeating, that's why here many come first, many. This many is for the first table or the top table. If you see our bottom table, we have a client, these are client are unique, and that's why it's one. The symbol for many is a star, and then we have semicolon, and then we have a one. Sorry, this is colon. So one star, sorry, star colon one. So star means many, colon means two, and one means one. So many to one. So this is symbolic representation, and here you see things written in words. So this type of relationship is many to one, because here the cost table is at the top. But suppose if you make your dim client table as the top table and cost table will be bottom table, the relationship will change to one to many. So if I can just show you, here I will choose cost table, and here I will choose dim client table. See, it will be uh, there is already a relationship. So it is dim client to cost, and it will be one to many relationship. Reverse, if you look it from cost to dim client side, it will many to one. So normally if you see, we have four different type of cardinality. Many to one and one to many, like are same only the table sequence changes now. And we have also understand what is cross filter direction. And while creating a relationship, make sure that these relationship are active. What is the importance of active relationship? So suppose this relationship as of now is active. Active relationship are always represented by continuous line. So we have a continuous line, we don't have a dotted line. If I make this relationship inactive, let's suppose make this relationship inactive and click on save, it will be represented by dotted line. See, if you see this line, and these lines. So these line are continuous line, it means relationship are active. These lines are dotted line, it means relationship are inactive. Like what will happen? So let me make this relationship first active and see the difference. So if I go here, uh this coming from this client column is coming from dim client table, and this is from the cost table, see. And if you see the relationship, dim client is filtering cost, and the relationship between these two table are by continuous line, means this relationship are active. It means if you choose client A, let me remove this filter. If you choose client A, you will have data for A. If you choose client B, you will have data for B. If you choose client C, you have data for C. It means I'm by default, if the relationship are active, dim client table will able to filter the cost table. But let's make this relationship inactive. I make this relationship inactive. If I go back here and if try to filter A, I'm not able to filter data into this table. If I choose B, I'm not able to filter data. If I choose C, I'm not able to filter data. It means if we have a relationship between the two table, and if this relationship are inactive, by default this relationship will not work. I'm not able to see. If I am choosing C, ideally I should have data for only C, but I have all the data. Means this slicers or filter is not working. Why this is not working? Because this relationship is inactive. If I make it active, it will work. Now it is working. See, I choose B, I have data for B. I choose C, I have data for C. So this is the difference between active relationship and inactive relationship. Let's come back to cardinality. Okay. So if you see, we have seen one to many cardinality. Now we'll load some data and try to understand what is one to one cardinality. Okay. So if you are able to see, we have some person information. This is person table, and this person table is dimension table. So if you see, the person ID is unique. So we have one record for each person ID. So person one is Alice, and then Bob, and then Charlie, and their date of birth is there. So you can say this is a person dimension table. Now, if you see another table, we have passport table, and this table will have information about passport. So like dim passport. So whenever organization make any passport, there will be no some unique identification for each passport, that is passport ID, and this passport ID will be unique. So if you are able to see, we have like 1001, 1002, and 103. This column is unique. So you can say this is also a dimension table or master table that contain information about passport. This passport is allocated to this person ID 1 with person ID 2 and person ID 3. And this is passport number, and then like when this password has been issued. So these are the two tables that we have, right? Now, if you see what is the common column between these two tables, that is person ID and person ID here. If you see, this person ID is unique. 1, 2, 3. These are unique. Also, one passport can be allocated to only one person. We cannot have practically where one passport is allocated to more than one person. So this passport ID 1001 is allocated to this person ID 1. This 1002 is allocated to person ID 2, and 1003 is allocated to person ID 3. See, so if you are making a relationship between this person ID and person ID, it will be only unique. Why it is unique? Because this person ID will match to only one record or one row into this table, and that is this row. Also, if you see this person ID 2 will only match with row number second, and this person ID 3 will only match with the row ID 3. So this type of relationship will be one to one relationship. How you can create an, like, why I need relationship, let's try to see that also. So let me click on transform data to open my Power Query to load this data quickly. Let me click on enter data and let me paste it. So I have a person ID and I will name this table as dim person. Dim stand for dimension table, and you know that this dimension table or master table, they will have at least one column as a unique column, and all other attribute it will not have any of the column which can be measured, and it will be dim password. Let me click close and apply to load. It will take few seconds to load it. Now it is loading. Let it load. So the data has been loaded. Now, so if you are able to see, we have these two tables, and by default the relationship has been detected. Let me delete it first. Okay, and now what I will do, I will click on new layout, and I will go to data tab and bring my these two table here. So I will have my dim passport and dim person. Why I need to relate these two table? So suppose if you want to create some visual, what kind of visual? So let me create some table. So I want to some create some table. Into this table I need what is the person ID. So if I go to this person, I will have a name of the person. What is his ID? Okay, I don't want to go on count. I will choose don't summarize. I want ID as 123, and I want to have his date of birth. So I don't want hierarchy. I want as a date. So I will right click and choose date of birth. Now I also want let me copy the formatting of this table. I don't want to waste my time doing formatting. Yeah. So I have name, person ID, and date of birth, right? Into this table, I also want when, like, what is the passport that this particular person has like got it. Okay, so like we have data. This person ID one has passport ID this, passport number this, and issue date this. So these are the information, like what is the passport ID, what is passport number, and this issue date I want here into this visual. I want. But these type of column are present into which table? These are present into passport table. Now let me drag and drop passport number. Here I'm not able to like see the visual has gone. And what is the error that is showing? Cannot determine relationship between the field. Means These are the column that I have used from the dim person table: name, passport ID, and date of birth. But this passport number I am using from dim passport table. Since these two table, dim passport table and dim person table, are not related with each other by any of the relationship, that's why I'm getting these issues. If I have to fix this out, I have to create a relationship between this dim passport table and dim person table. How we can create it? Based on common column. The common column we know that is person ID. So I will choose person ID here and drag and drop it here. So see, I have a dim passport and I have a dim person, and if you are able to see, the relationship will be based on person ID and person ID. And let me click on save. It will take few minutes to create that relationship. Now since these two tables are related to with each other, if I go back here, now see, I am able to see passport number here also, and this visual by default has fixed. Earlier it has a error, but it is fixed now. Now if you drag and drop other column, like when this passport has been issued to this particular person, if I choose it here and choose as issue date, I will have issue date also. So issue date is here. So whenever in one single visual, if you are try to use column from the different table, and if the table are not related with any of the relationship, you will have error. The visual will be not populated, saying it does not able to detect or find the relationship between the table. What you have to do, you had need to go to the modeling table and you need to create a relationship between the table. Now the relationship, if you bring your cursor here, is between the person ID column from the dim passport table and the dim person column, sorry, person ID column from the dim person table. Why 1 1 is there? Because if you see, the person ID value into this table are unique, as well as here 1, it means person ID into dim person table are unique. The arrow is both side. If you are able to see, the arrow is both side. It means dim person table will able to filter the dim passport table, and also dim passport table will able to filter the dim person table. These are called cross filter direction. So one to one relationship, for one to one relationship, by default the cross filter direction is both. By default the cross filter direction is both. If you want to change it, you can do that. You can go here and choose cross filter direction, both. So like we have, for one to one relationship we have only one option, both. So you cannot make it one or anything else. But for many to many relationship or other relationship, you can change it. So if you come here and if you see your one to many relationship between the dim client and cost table, you have provision to do that. You have provision to choose between single or both, you can do that. But for one to one relationship, you you cannot make it one side. By default it's both. You won't be have option to choose, like even a single also. So this is one to one relationship. Okay guys, if you have any query you can ask now. Okay, fine. Let's move ahead and try to understand that is many to many relationship. Okay, like consider a scenario, wherein we have a student ID and student name, and then we have a course ID and course name, right? We have these two tables, right? Or let's come back here. Let me delete this relationships. I want to delete. Even I want to delete this relationship and delete this relationship. Now let's try to see, I will create a new layout, and into here I will bring sales table and cost table. I have these two tables. If you see, the common column between the cost table and the sales table is client. Let me know, create a relationship between these two tables, and let me click OK. See, here I have a star here, I have a star here also. A star means the value of the client into this column are repetitive. So if you go to cost table and try to see the value of the client, see all the column values has repeated. If you go to the sales table, here also we have a star. It means the value of the client column into this sales table has repeated. That we can see that. Now it means, like if you see this cross filter direct, if you see cross filter direction, it is towards both the side. If it's towards both the side, it means the sales table will able to filter the cost table, as well as cost table will able to filter the sales table. Now let me right click it here. Do we have a provision to change it? Yes, we have a provision. We have other two options. First, sales filter cost. So if I choose this and click on save, since it is sales filter cost, the arrow is flowing from sales and going toward cost, because I want that only the sales should able to filter the cost table. Only the sales should able to filter the cost table. That's why arrow is flowing from sales and going towards cost. If you right click and change the second option, that cost filter sales, it means the arrow will flowing reverse. Now here if you are able to see, the arrow is flowing from cost going towards sales. It means cost table will able to filter the sales table. Do we require many to many relationship? No, we always avoid many to many relationship, and there is reason for that. That we'll going to discuss tomorrow. So like in the next class, we'll going to end our data modeling. I will be taking up some other scenarios. So we have already since how to create a relationship. We have already since what is cardinality. We have already since what is cross filter direction. We have seen what is the importance of relationship. We have seen how to create a relationship, how to delete a relationship, what is active relationship and what is inactive relationship. But then also there are some other important relationship, that important concept related to relationship, like how many active relationship can be created between two tables, how many inactive relationship that we can create between two tables. So there are other few questions that will be taking up into the next classes.